Hello and welcome to this hour-long video on the Persian Empire, one of the most powerful empires of the ancient world. In this video, we will explore the history, culture, and achievements of the Persian Empire, from its rise in the 6th century BCE to its fall at the hands of Alexander the Great in the 4th century BCE. The Persian Empire is the name given to a series of dynasties centered in modern-day Iran that span several centuries. The First Persian Empire, founded by Cyrus the Great around 550 BC, became one of the largest empires in history, stretching from Europe's Balkan Peninsula in the west to India's Indus Valley in the east. This Iron Age dynasty, sometimes called the Achaemenid Empire, was a global hub of culture, religion, science, art, and technology for more than 200 years before it fell to the invading armies of Alexander the Great. The Persian Empire began with the rise of the Achaemenid dynasty in the 6th century BCE. The founder of the dynasty was Cyrus the Great, who conquered the neighboring kingdoms of Media, Lydia, and Babylon, among others. Under his rule, the Persian Empire grew to become the largest empire the world had yet seen, encompassing a vast territory that stretched from the Mediterranean Sea to Central Asia. Cyrus was known for his enlightened policies, particularly his respect for the cultures and religions of the peoples he conquered. This policy of tolerance helped to maintain the stability of the empire and earned Cyrus the loyalty and support of his subjects. One of the most celebrated leaders of the Persian Empire was Darius I, who ruled from 522 BCE to 486 BCE. He was the third king of the Achaemenid dynasty, succeeding Cyrus the Great and his son Cambyses II. Darius I is often considered one of the greatest kings in Persian history, known for his military conquests, administrative reforms, and patronage of the arts. Under Darius's reign, the Persian Empire expanded to its greatest extent, encompassing much of the Middle East, parts of Central Asia, and parts of Europe. He conducted successful military campaigns against the Greeks, the Scythians, and the Indians, and established a network of roads and communication that facilitated trade and administration throughout. The Persian Wars were a series of conflicts between the Persian Empire and the Greek city-states that took place in the 5th century BCE. The conflicts began with the Ionian Revolt, in which several Greek city-states in Asia Minor rose up against Persian rule. The revolt was crushed by the Persians, but it set the stage for further conflicts between the two powers. The first major conflict was the Persian invasion of Greece, which began in 492 BCE. The Persian forces, led by Darius I and his son Xerxes I, launched a massive invasion of Greece, but were ultimately defeated by the Greeks at the battles of Marathon, Thermopylae, and Salamis. These victories were significant for the Greeks, as they helped to preserve their independence and freedom from Persian rule. In 480 BCE, the Persian king Xerxes launched a massive invasion of Greece. The Greeks, led by the Spartan king Leonidas, held off the Persian army at the Battle of Thermopylae, but the Persians eventually conquered Athens and burned the city to the ground. The Persian Wars also had a significant impact on the world at large, as they marked a turning point in the balance of power between the East and the West. They also helped to shape the identity of the Greeks, who saw themselves as defenders of freedom and democracy against the tyranny of the Persian Empire. The Persian Empire was renowned for its impressive architecture, particularly under the Achaemenid dynasty. The most famous structure was the Grand Ceremonial Complex of Persepolis, located in what is now modern-day Iran. Persepolis features massive stone platforms, elaborate gateways, and intricate reliefs that depict various scenes from Persian life, including battles, rituals, and royal processions. Persian architecture drew inspiration from other cultures, resulting in an eclectic style that blended various traditions into a unique whole. Persian architects also made significant advances in water management and engineering, constructing elaborate systems of underground canals and aqueducts that allowed for irrigation and the provision of water to urban centers. One of the most notable achievements in Persian architecture was the construction of the Royal Road, a massive network of roads that connected the empire's regions. This feat of engineering allowed for easier transportation and communication, and helped to facilitate trade and commerce throughout the empire. The role of women in the Persian Empire varied depending on their social status and the time period. While women in the Persian Empire had more rights and opportunities compared to other ancient societies, they were still subject to certain restrictions and limitations. One such limitation was the practice of polygamy, which was common among the upper classes. This meant that men could have multiple wives, and women were often seen as property rather than equal partners in a marriage. During the Achaemenid period, it was common practice for conquering armies to take women as spoils of war. These women were often forced into sexual slavery and used as concubines for soldiers and commanders. In addition to sex slavery, there were also instances of forced marriages and other forms of coercion that affected women in the Persian Empire. Despite these restrictions, there were also examples of powerful and influential women in the Persian Empire, such as royal wives, queens, and satraps. Some women also engaged in trade and commerce, and were involved in art. The Persian Empire was known for its diverse cultural traditions and its tolerant approach to religion and language. The empire was home to many different ethnic groups, and the Persian kings were known for embracing and incorporating these diverse cultures into their own. Religion played an important role in Persian society, and the empire was known for its religious tolerance. While the Achaemenid kings themselves were Zoroastrians, they allowed for the practice of other religions and did not impose their beliefs on their subjects. This policy of religious tolerance helped to create a sense of unity and cooperation among the diverse peoples of the empire. One of the most notable cultural achievements of the Persian Empire was its literature. The Achaemenid dynasty produced some of the most famous Persian poets and writers, such as Ferdowsi, Rumi, and Hafez. These writers produced works in Persian that are still celebrated today for their beauty, depth, and richness. Despite its many accomplishments, the Persian Empire eventually began to decline due to a combination of internal and external factors. One major factor was the succession crisis that ensued after the death of the Emperor Darius III, which led to a series of civil wars and weakened the empire's central authority. The empire was also beset by economic problems, including inflation and a decline in trade. External threats also played a role, with the rise of the Macedonian Empire under Alexander the Great, who ultimately defeated the Persians in a series of battles and conquered much of their territory. The fall of the Persian Empire marked the end of an era and paved the way for the rise of new empires in the region. In conclusion, the Persian Empire was a fascinating and complex civilization that made many important contributions to the world. From its attitudes towards women to its rich literature and religious diversity, the Persians left a lasting legacy that continues to influence the modern world. By studying the history and culture of the Persian Empire, we can gain a deeper understanding of the complexities of human civilization and the ways in which different societies have shaped the world we live in today.